Increasingly, when we do videos on Ezra Miller, they just get worse and worse. The information that comes out compounds one another. It started off with, well, he's a bit weird. Then it turned out that we saw video footage of him choking a fan in Iceland. Then we find out that parents of a young girl has got a restraining order against them, protective order, and now we find out that he's on the run. Then we find out that a 12-year-old has put in a complaint or, another protective sort of restraining order to TRO because he was being oddly suggestive towards the child. Well, now, again, you'd think that you wouldn't be able to top that off, but apparently you can, because on Ezra Miller's Vermont farm, there's a young woman and 3 children, and it is an absolute state. There's guns, there's bullets, there's weed everywhere, and at one point the child had a live round, a baby, in its mouth. And this is fine in Hollywood. This is fine. It just gets worse and worse. Every time I speak about this chap, everything gets worse. So Ezra Miller has been housing a 25-year-old mother and her 3 young children on his Vermont farm. A living arrangement that worries the children's father, as well as 2 others with knowledge of the situation, Rolling Stone has learned. So 2 sources with knowledge of the situation express concern to Rolling Stone that it is an unsafe environment for children, alleging that there are unattended guns strewn around the home on Miller's 96-acre property. Now, we know that he has a penchant for weaponry, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of, it's your constitutional right in the States. But probably best to keep them safe, right? One source, who, like the other, requested anonymity for fear of retribution, because we know that this dude can be nasty when he wants to be. But anyway, this individual, this source, recalled an instance where one of the children, a 1-year-old, allegedly picked up a loose bullet and put it in her mouth. So the mother, who, like the father, Rolling Stone is not naming, claims that Miller had helped her escape from a violent and abusive ex. And Miller helped me finally have a safe environment for my 3 young children. Now, this is all allegedly. Of course it is. Of course it is. But let's take a look at some of the evidence around this individual here, Ezra Miller. He has a penchant for preying on individuals, separating them, segregating them from, I guess, their friends, their family. It's not a stretch that this individual, violent and abusive ex, they might very well have a violent and abusive ex. And if that is the case, Miller may have preyed upon them because of that situation. I don't think this is altruism. A safe environment. Yes, guns everywhere. Fantastically safe. If true, of course. So Ezra's home ranch has been a healing haven for us. But bearing in mind, this individual believes he's got like a polycule, a polyamorous, familial relationship group. I just want to bear that out. That's not a safe environment for children. It's just not. It's not normal for children to grow up with that around them. Okay? It's not. So Ezra's home ranch has been a healing haven for us, she tells Rolling Stone. They may have firearms for self-defense purposes, and they are stored in part of the house that the children never go in. My kids are able to relax more into their healing because of the safety and nurturing Ezra has been providing for them. You know what? I'm sensing an awful lot of hippy-dippy bullshit here. Havens, relaxing into their healing. Next we'll be talking about chakras. This sounds like nonsense. So the mother and the children, aged 1 to 5, have been living at Miller's Stanford, Vermont farm since mid-April. The actor met the woman in Hilo, Hawaii. Is this before or after he launched a chair at someone? He's been doing absolute garbage in Hawaii. He's been arrested twice. Now this says which Miller had been visiting in March. The embattled actor, who is set to star in Warner Brothers' anticipated The Flash, it's not that anticipated, racked up a string of arrests while in Hawaii. So again, let's just analyse this with a critical mind here for just 1 second, right? He goes to Hawaii, is absolutely out of his mind half the time. We know that because we've seen video footage of it. He's been arrested a few times. It's not been a good time for him in Hawaii. I'm sure he's been having a blast, but everyone else not. And then he meets someone who he then houses in his home. But he meets her in Hawaii whilst he's in that current mental state. And then the individual praising him, I would question their mental state when they meet an individual in that kind of condition and think that he's fine. Let's be honest, right? That's a pretty clear sign that this is all, nonsense. But anyway, so in the midst of that unfolding crisis, the children's father claims to Rolling Stone that Miller secured a flight out of Hawaii for the women and her children, allegedly without the father's knowledge, and he claims he has not been able to see her or speak with his children since their departure. I got a bad feeling in my stomach, the father says. I do want to go get my kids. They mean the effing world to me. Representatives from Miller did not reply to a request for comment, and you know why? They've not replied to any request for any comment from anyone, because they're probably racking their head going, Jesus, how do we represent this fool? So the mother and father have been at odds for some time, according to Hawaii court records. The mother pursued one domestic abuse case and one paternity case against the father in May 2021. He has denied all abuse allegations, and the domestic case was terminated when neither of the parents appeared in court. So that's a bit odd. But again, this history, sure, right? However, I go back to the fact that this woman met Ezra Miller under the conditions he was in whilst he was being arrested in Hawaii, and she believes he is a good guy. That's really important to highlight when we're talking about whether there's some validity or legitimacy behind these domestic abuse claims. It's quite unlikely, although not impossible, that these abuse claims are real. So anyway, files in the paternity case show the judge put the case on hold last October because the father hadn't been served. The father filed a domestic case against the mother in April related to her taking the children out of the state. The case is now pending. The mother says she is still living at Miller's farm with her children. The two sources who confirmed seeing children there with their mother describe it as a chaotic environment that is unsafe for children. Video footage from April, reviewed by Rolling Stone, appears to show at least 8 assault weapons, rifles, and handguns lying around the living room, with some weapons propped up next to a pile of stuffed animals. Two sources also alleged that there has been frequent and heavy marijuana use in front of the children, with little concern about proper ventilation. Rolling Stone has also learned that there is a sizable cannabis farm on Miller's property, with Miller's close friend and purported handyman, Whitney Souters, claiming on social media that the two were running a cannabis company called Rebel Alliance Cannabis. So numerous photos posted to Souters' social media pages indicate that there is a far greater number of marijuana plants than Vermont's permitted 2 mature plants or 4 immature plants that private citizens can own. Suitors told one Facebook friend that there were at least 28 different strains growing for a fall 2021 harvest. So why has no one been out there then? The evidence is literally there. Go and have a look. The fucking police are a joke. Anyway, Miller's Farm is not among the state's 25 licensed cultivators that are allowed to grow more than 6 plants and sell to wholesalers. Rolling Stone confirmed that Vermont Cannabis Control Board. So again, why has no one been out there then? The father claims he had been trying to remove his children from the farm since April, and after learning of the alleged weapons and drug use at Miller's property in mid-May, he called Vermont's Department for Children, Families and local police to carry out wellness checks. Well done him, I mean, it seems like he cares. Rolling Stone has reviewed text messages between the father and a number registered to a Vermont social worker who said in a text that they had visited the house on May 16th and the kids looked good, noting the worker had more work to do. It's not clear if the social worker returned to the home. In a request for a comment, DCF said it does not provide information regarding visits. Of course it can't. Why would you even try? It's the latest concerning situation Miller has found themselves in. I mean, this fucking guy. Honestly, this guy. It's baffling to me. Why is anyone... Why haven't you been out there? Anyway. It almost becomes a bit of a Debbie Downer covering this stuff now. I'm just like, Jesus. Like, when's the police going to step in? When someone's actually going to do something? He's clearly breaking the law by growing all that stuff anyway. You know, if he's got kids there, I mean, go and have a look. Like, it's pretty easy, pretty simple to do. They're bragging about it online. You're doing nothing. Why? It's just weird. Anyway, Clown World. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we of course have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.